Hello all. Today we discuss about the topic spinal cord reflex action and reflex arc. Now first we come to the spinal cord. So, spinal cord is the most important structure between the body and the brain. The spinal cord extends from foramen magnum where it is continuous with the medulla to the level of first or second lumbar vertebra. It is a vital link between the brain and the body and from the body to the brain. The spinal cord is 40 to 50 centimeter long and 1 centimeter to emerge on each of its sides. These nerve roots join distally to form 31 pair of spinal nerves, and the spinal cord is a cylindrical structure of nervous tissue composed of white and gray matter, is uniformly organized and is divided into four regions: cervical, thoracic, lumbar and the sacral regions. So next is general features. Similar cross-section structure at spinal cord level, it carries sensory information sensation from the body and some form head of the CNS via afferent fiber and is perform the initial processing of this information. Motor neuron in the ventral horn project the axon into the peripheral to innervate skeletal smooth muscles that mediate voluntary and involuntary reflexes, and it contained neuron whose descending axon mediate autonomic control of the most of the visceral function. And it is great clinical importance because it is a major site of traumatic injury and locus of many disease processes. The next is the spinal cord is divided into four different regions: the cervical, thoracic, lumbar and sacral regions. The different cord regions can be visually distinguished from one another. To enlargement of the spinal cord can be visualized the cervical enlargement which extends between the C3 to T1. C is the cervical and the lumbar enlargement of which extend between L1 to S2. Next is the cord is segmentally organized. There are 31 segments defined by 31 pair of nerve exciting the cord. And these nerves are divided into 8 cervical, 12 thoracic, 5 lumbar and 5 sacral and 1 coccygeal nerves. Dorsal and ventral root of the invertebrates foramen at the vertebral segments corresponding to the spinal segment. So next is, what is reflex action? Reflex action is an involuntary and sudden response to stimuli. It happens to be an integral component of the famed survival instinct. Most of the common reflexes are a response to all well-trained accumulated knowledge of caution that we have internalized. It could be anything and ranges from reflex action and aberrantly or hot object. And the hand at is come in contact with an extremely cold or hot object, and the action is termed to as reflex action. It has subtle relation to instincts, a point to be thought upon that we all have instinct differently depending on our past experience and understanding. A reflex is a reaction triggered by this instinct. So next is the action of neuron. Uh, Two neurons dominate the pathway, afferent and the efferent. So, firstly, begin with the receptor detecting the stimulus or sudden changes in the environment, where the instinct again has a role play. The stimulus is received from a sensory organ. Then the sensory neurons send a signal to the relay neuron, and thus it follow with the relay neuron sending the signal to motor neuron, and motor neuron send signal to the effector, and the effector produces an intentionally response, for example pulling away of the hand or knee jerk. And it can be easily clearly summarized that the moment of afferent neuron receive a signal from sensory organ and it transmit the impulse via dorsal nerve root into the center CNS, and the efferent neuron that carry the signal from CNS to the effector, and the stimulus thus form a reflex arc. In a reflex action, the signal do not route to the brain. Instead, it is directed into the synapse, spinal cord, and hence the reaction is almost instantaneous. So next is the reflex action and its components. In this, the reflex arc describe the pathway in which the nerve impulse is carried and the response is generated and shown in this organ effector organs. Like the reflex arc typically consists of 5 components: the receptor, sensory neuron, information motor neuron, effector neuron. And the first is the receptor is present in the receptor organ. Next one is the sensory neuron conduct the nerve impulse toward the CNS, and the CNS is comprised of the brain and the spinal cord. And the information is transferred from one neuron to other. And a motor neuron conduct the response nerve from CNS to the effector organ. And the effector organ show response by contracting or secreting a product. And the instant movement performed by the individual response to the stimulus to known as the reflex action. Thank you so much.